Hi, everyone, and welcome. If you're just joining us, this is our IG session to break down a success story using EB1A to get a US green card. And today we're going to talk all about it. We're going to really go into details to make sure that everyone fully understands the process, okay? So if you're just joining us, I would really appreciate it if you can let us know if I can hear you. If you can hear me, that will be really, really appreciated. Okay. All right. So, for those who are just joining, I'm Dr. Ozi. I am the chief consultant here at my EB2NIW LLC, where we help individuals like you prepare your green card applications. We help you with the editorial services for the application. Today, we're going to be talking about one of the pathways, one of the merit based pathways for getting your US green card. But before we go ahead, I just want to wait a little bit on individuals to join. That way, we can make sure that we are all on the same page, okay? So I'm going to wait for individuals to join. While we're waiting, let's get to know a few people who are here, okay? So first off, order of business, can you guys hear me? I just want to make sure that I don't go on and on ranting and no one can hear me. Okay, so if you can hear me, please give me a thumbs up in the comment section where I can just see that you can hear. So if you can hear me, please give me a thumbs up so I can know that you guys can hear me. Okay. All right. Awesome. All right. So while we're doing that, also, if you guys can go ahead and share this live with your friends, that would be amazing because we want to make sure that people have the information. A lot of times people don't have information. They don't know what to do, but they don't have the right information. So if you can share this, that will also be appreciated. Go ahead and share this live with your friends, okay? Sharing is caring. My kids say that all the time, okay? So yeah, we want to make sure that people have the right information. So another order of business is we don't have a WhatsApp group, guys. On Sunday, we had this really impressive live session or question and answer session where we answered a lot of questions. And one of the questions was, please let me into your WhatsApp group. We don't have a WhatsApp group. So if you're part of a WhatsApp group that claim to be us, well, it's not us, okay? Just making sure that you guys know that we don't have a WhatsApp group. All of the information that we have for you, we put it on YouTube, we put it on here on Instagram, we have newsletter. We have different pathways of sending you information, but we just don't have one of those groups right now. So just making sure that you have that information as well. Okay, so I want to do something different today. I want to make sure that we're giving back as much as we can. And at the end of this session, we're going to give someone free consultation. Okay, so all you have to do is hang on to the end of the live session, and then we'll, pretty much pick someone from the comments who will get that free consultation. So if you really want to be part of that, if you really want to take advantage of that, if you want that to go to you, just hang on to the end of this live session. Okay. One other thing that I want to do is I really want to know where people are joining from. We are here in Nashville, Tennessee, but where are you guys joining from? Are you guys in the U.S.? Are you? What state are you joining from? I think that will be really, really good to know. Okay. Our YouTube channel is just EB2NIW. If you go on YouTube and just type EB2NIW, you'll find our channel. So yeah, we have that as well. Yeah. So let me know in the comments where you guys are joining from. Give us an idea. We would like to know. We're always looking to meet new people. We're always looking to expand our reach, and that's just something that will be helpful. You can find out where you're joining from today. Texas. Oh, amazing. Okay, Kelly's joining from Texas. That's amazing. Very good. Well, we're here in Nashville, but we cater to people across the globe. So we've had clients from Texas, we've had clients from different parts of the U.S., we've had people outside the U.S., some clients from Nigeria, some from the different parts of the world, really, Canada, the UK. We've had clients from different places. That's something else someone was asking me the other day. It looks like you only help people who are in the U.S. No, we actually help you from across the world. As a matter of fact, the case that we're going to be breaking down today was a client who successfully applied from Nigeria. So if that's you, you're thinking, oh, I have to be in the US to apply for this. No, you don't. The benefit of this kind of green card is that you can apply from anywhere in the world, literally anywhere in the world, as long as you're qualified, okay? So that's another thing that is beneficial. Something else I want to bring up is, guys, the importance of timing in all of this. Timing is so crucial. Is really crucial in just getting your application in, right? The reason why I bring it up is because there's just been a recent ban, an immigration ban in certain countries, right? And that's going to affect who is able to apply for these types of green cards, or who is able to even apply for things like B1, B2, visiting visas, J visas, and F visas, and things like that. So it's really important that as soon as you get information, guys, act on it, right? Don't get information and sit on the fence and just, like, I know I get it that personality types differ, but I want to encourage you, okay? No one else is going to do it for you. This is your life, right? Um, when you get information, don't wait too long, because as you wait, policies change, things happen, prices go up. Like, it's so many things that can happen before you make a decision, right? So the simple action on it could not, I'm not saying, hey, just jump into it and apply. I'm saying get more information. Acting on it could be, hey, reaching out for a consultation to say, hey, tell me more. This is my specific case. Look at my CV. What do you think about this? And things like that, right? Act on it could be, hey, I want a toolkit. I want to figure out how to do it myself. I don't have the money to pay for someone to do it for me, but I want to do it myself. It's possible. Act on it could be, um, as simple as going to register in a professional society, signing up to do things that will boost your profile, right? That's what I mean by act on it, because nothing breaks my heart more than just getting on in a consultation with a client and hearing someone say, hey, I've been following you for 2 years and I've been trying to figure out the right time. I feel like 2 years is too long to just sit on an idea and not know what to do next with that idea, okay? So that's what I mean by act on it. All right. Hi. We have someone from Nashville, Tennessee. Awesome. Alaji Fatia. Welcome, right? I really like to know where people are joining from, because it really, really helps out. Abuja, Nigeria. Oh, awesome. We have someone from Peru. Awesome. Okay, so welcome. Today we're going to talk about a merit-based pathway of getting a U.S. green card. The fastest way, merit-based employment pathway right now, which is employment-based first preference, employment-based first preference, period, right? We also talk about employment-based second preference, national interest waiver, but today's success story is really someone who applied and got his green card in record time with premium processing. And get this, guys, he only had a bachelor's degree. Now, a lot of people think that for these types of green cards, you need to have a PhD, you need to have a master's degree. No, he applied from Nigeria. So it wasn't even in the US. Our client was outside the US, was able to apply, but because he's so exceptional, he stands out. And I'll break down how he stands out during this session, right? So you guys can see. I'll break down how he stands out. So you see exactly what made his kids stand out for this type of green card, right? He was able to apply from outside the US. He wasn't even here, and he got it. He didn't have a PhD. Granted, he's actually has an ongoing master's degree, but he hasn't completed that. So his application was solely on the basis of his bachelor's degree and years of work experience. So we get that question a lot. Do I have to have a PhD? Do I have to have a master's degree? Come for a consultation. We'll look at the entire picture and we'll let you know what you can do to boost your profile. Okay. All right. So petroleum engineering is our field today. Our client applied from Nigeria, so it wasn't even the US. And he was able to get this green card. Something that we're doing, if you've noticed on our page, is that we're breaking down the requirements for EB1A on our timeline, right? Quickly, EB1A requires 3 things. The first is to show that you are outstanding in your field, exceptional. Showing that you're exceptional could be, I'm going to show a one-time big award in my field. Or if I don't have that, I'm going to show in 3 ways that I stand out. We're breaking down every single thing, every single way that you can show you're exceptional. Remember, USCIS doesn't want you to have all of these 10 things we're going to break down. No, they don't want you to have all of the 10. But we're breaking down what each of them means so that you see which are your strong points. So if you go on our page right now and you look, you will see things like awards, right? Is it that you have a one-time big award like a Nobel Prize in your field? But how many people really have Nobel Prizes? Not a lot of people, right? So USCIS has said, we do know that there are people who stand out, but they may not have this Nobel Prize, right? So what are we going to do? We're going to allow them to show they stand out at least 3 out of 10 ways, right? And so if you look on our page right now, we are really showing the different ways that you can stand out. So for example, I'm not going to go through all of them, but look at the one where we say the criteria. One is awards, right? And we're breaking down the kinds of awards, what USCIS is looking for. We move on to membership in professional societies. We're breaking down what kind of professional societies, right? And then so we have a lot of information we're putting out there, guys. Take advantage of these things. And of course, please share them with your, of course, your friends and your family, people that would benefit from this. All right. So I already said our client applied from outside the US. It's totally possible. So after you show that you're qualified, you're exceptional, the second thing is showing that your presence is going to benefit the US, right? And so that your expertise is something that the US really needs. And here you start talking about, okay, the fact that, oh, I'm going to add to the economy, I'm going to add to the welfare, the well-being of the country. You explain those things with evidence, right? And then finally is the final merit determination section where you're showing them that, look, even though you have people like me already in the US, my presence is still going to benefit the country, right? You still need people like me in the US. And I'm going to continue in this field. I'm not coming there saying I'm a petroleum engineer, I'm going to do something after that, right? So these are the ways that you show that you deserve this merit-based green card that the US has to offer, all right? Now, yeah, definitely you can ask questions. Absolutely, you can ask questions. If you're looking for a link to the consultation, just type in the word consult. If you put consult in the comments, it will send you a message in your DM that will give you the information on consultations. Okay. All right. So I just explained to you that our client, so for, we're going to keep him anonymous. He had a bachelor's degree in engineering, mechanical engineering for that matter, right? And he had 27 years of work experience. There are people that they get their degrees, they start working, and they just keep grinding. He was just that kind of person. He never really stepped out to, some of us, like personally, I got my bachelor's degree and then I went for my PhD. That was my path, right? Some people will get their degrees and they'll start working and create a whole career path for themselves. So that's what our client did. So he had 27 years of work experience in mechanical engineering. He also had a ton of certifications, guys. Now, that's also training, right? When you're on the job, a lot of jobs will do certifications that are specific to your industry, right? When you do the certifications, guys, save the certificates. Even if you job up, you change your job from, hey, this job to another job, maybe you're not working in that company anymore. They tell you guys after set dates, you're not going to have access to your email anymore. Go ahead and download all those certifications that you did and save them. Those belong to you, okay? Save them because you never really know when you're going to need them. Our client had done so many, imagine 27 years of work experience. He had so many certifications that he had done that were industry specific. We were able to show that truly, even though he had a bachelor's degree, he had 27 years of work experience and also had done training on the job. We were able to show that using certifications. So something for you to think about. All right. The next thing that I want to point out here is that there are several criteria to show that you're exceptional. USCIS is looking for just 3, right? When I spoke to this client, looked at his profile, he had so much more than 3. So if you're one of those people that you have more than 3, yeah, you can definitely show more than 3 if they're all strong criteria, right? And I'll break down the different ways that he stands out. Okay, so the first thing that we're able to show that he had original contributions in his field. Now, even though he was in his field, he was grinding for 27 years, he also had taken part in projects that got published. So he did have publications. His area of specialty is well intervention, drilling optimization, and offshore well integrity, right? So this is someone that's really deep in the petroleum industry. And so we're able to show that he had made contributions in that field, original contributions through publications. So, for example, he developed a method that kind of optimized drilling, and he was able to show that. That led to like enhanced oil recovery, reduced well failure, and improved safety. We're able to show those kind of things. So first, he was able to show that he had made original contributions of major significance in his field. Most of these were backed up by recommendation letters. Most of these were backed up by just showing the publications that he had put out and then people who had cited those things. But it was important to show that he had those things, right? The second thing is authorship of scholarly articles. He had 5 peer-reviewed publications. He was not always first author on those publications, but he was busy. He was working in his industry, right? However, he was able to show that, hey, in this time that I was busy in my field, I also contributed to some research as well. Now, remember, guys, not everybody needs to have publications, but he just happened to have publications, and we're able to highlight that as well. So he had 5 peer-reviewed publications, and he even presented at the Society of Petroleum Engineers, SPE, right? So he presented there, and he actually got an award during one of those presentations. His focus, again, was oil recovery, safety, and all these things in the petroleum industry. He had also been cited by industry experts, and his work had been used in real life operations. So again, someone exceptional that just really, really stood out for this process. The third thing we're able to argue was that he had leading or critical roles in his organization, right? So some of you are, you're the manager where you work, or you have an admin role that's super high up there. You can use that to advantage as well. He was able to show that in the different companies that he had worked, and again, he wasn't job hopping. This is not someone that had worked in 27 different companies. No, he had established his name in a couple companies that he had worked, right? And you could see him rising through the ranks. But he was able to show that, hey, I have a leading and crucial role here. And of course, it was backed up by letter from his employer. Okay. The fourth thing we're able to argue was membership in merit-based associations, right? I'm trying to get through it so that I can have time to answer your questions. Membership in merit-based associations, what does that mean? You want to be part of organizations that require some kind of membership criteria, eligibility criteria, something that separates people who are not qualified from people who are clearly qualified to be part of this. So, for him, he was part of the Society of Petroleum Engineers, and he had also received an award while presenting something at a meeting, presenting his work at a meeting, one of their conferences. So you can see that he's not just a member, right? For every organization, you're going to pay dues. So your receipt from your paying dues is not the evidence that you show. You can show your membership certification, but also show that you've done something in that organization. For him, he had, presented some of his work at conference and had gotten that recognition as well. Okay. He had also received awards. So we talked about the award that he had received based on his research. Again, we talked about the fact that he presented at one of these meetings and also received that award. That really helped him to stand out as well. Okay. Something that stood out for him that I don't see every day with people is mentorship, right? Really important. It's important to mentor. Now, I can imagine that while he was mentoring these people, he didn't even know he was going to apply for a green card and use any of these, right? He was just doing it out of, hey, I'm going to pull people up, like myself. And most of the people he had mentored had gone on to, get leadership positions in their own companies as well. So we were able to get those mentees to write letters to say, hey, this and this and these are the things I learned from him that have impacted my career as well. Imagine that. You're not only growing your career, but you're also mentoring people. Now, a lot of people we talk to have mentored in some way, but they have no way to show it. You can just get a letter from the people who you mentored. They're still alive and well. You can get letters from them to say, hey, this is what he did for me. This is what she did for me. And I was able to use it to get to the point that I am right now. Okay. All right. So junior engineers that he mentored and pulled up, people who he had supervised and were able to write letters to his benefit. Okay. What kind of supporting documents, accompany his application? When you apply for this type of green card, you're going to put in the forms. You're also going to put in a petition, which is just a letter, fancy way of saying a letter, right? An official letter to USCIS saying, hey, I'm qualified for this, I'd like to apply for this, right? But then you have to support everything that you're saying with evidence. You cannot just say, oh, I mentored 700 people, I helped them with their careers, no evidence. It doesn't work that way. Every single thing that you're going to say that you've done, you must have evidence for it. No, I meant 27 years, 27 years of work experience. So the good thing about this type of green card is it spans across board. There's no age limit per se, right? You can say, I finished school or I started school at this age. I'm a new graduate, but I've done all these things, and you can apply. Or it could be somebody who has been in the industry for years and is looking for a fresh start in a different country. You can apply as well. Okay, I'm going to try to take your questions as we go along, but yeah, let's keep going. What kind of documentation was he able to show during this process? The first thing is strong letters of recommendation. Very important. Letter of recommendation actually carry this process. I know only one person who has been approved without a single letter of recommendation. But when you look at his profile, he had done a lot of stuff, right? But most of the people I know who have gotten approved had to have written letters of recommendation. And I think that for the most part, most people need letters, right? These have to be strong letters. Letters that really tell about your achievements, tell about the fact that you are outstanding in your field, that you're probably the 1% or the 3% in your industry. And it can be written by people that know you well, who have worked with you. Also important, you want to get letters from people who have not necessarily worked with you, but people who can attest to the fact that you're good at what you do. Very, very important. Very, very crucial for this process. Okay, so let's keep going. He had 6 letters of recommendation for this type of application. We also had evidence of conference participation and technical presentations. What evidence of conference participation? So he went to a conference, he was able to show us the conference badge, was able to show us his registration for the conference, and for those conferences where he presented, he showed us evidence that he did. He was able to show evidence of professional mentorship and leadership testimonials. Again, we got those letters from the mentees. Then he had relevant volunteering and then trainings that he had done. So start to think about the people that are inviting you to come talk on this Zoom session, where it's a niche thing. You're talking to people in your field, and you're telling them all about the things that you do. You want to make sure that you have evidence for things like that, because those are the things, guys, that really show that you're an expert in your field and will help you stand out. Okay? All right. So let's highlight some of the things that strengthen the application. When we wrote the petition, because that's what we did, we drafted his petition, we drafted all the letter of recommendation that he gave to his recommenders to edit and sign. We drafted the petition, we made sure that he was okay with everything we wrote, we fully represented the things, the length and breadth of his expertise, and it was good to go, right? So that's what we do here. We focus on the national importance of what he was saying that he was going to do in the US. That was our focus, right? So we talked about that, hey, his expertise is going to improve offshore safety. We talked about the fact that he was going to support energy independence. We found executive orders, we found government initiatives that backed up the things that he said he was going to do. We said that he was going to strengthen the engineering workforce because he had already done it previously, right? He had trained and pulled all these budding engineers up. So now, if he says he's going to do it again, there's evidence that he really is going to do it, right? We showed that his work aligns with things like the Department of Energy, their focus, things like the Bureau of Safety and Environmental Enforcement. We were able to cite all these things that kind of tie in with his expertise, right? We also showed that his work had been adopted in the real world. People were actually using his work. We showed that by recommendation letters from people who had adopted his work or people that had even cited his papers, right? And then we were able to show, we love to include visual representation in our petitions. We wanted to be able to show, hey, if someone doesn't read this whole 30 pages that we've written, right? Because we just go to town writing, right? If someone doesn't have the time to literally read through everything, can we put pictures and figures and things in there that when they look at those things, they can really decipher in a short amount of time, quickly, that this person is someone that is worth keeping in the US, and we're able to put those things as well. He submitted his application, got the premium processing option where you hear back from USCIS in 15 working days or less, and he got his approval. Now that he has been approved, his case has, he has been notified that he's been approved. The USCIS will now transfer the case to the National Visa Center. Since it's not in the US, they transfer the case to the National Visa Center in Nigeria so that he will then complete the process through consular processing, with his dependents and everybody, and they're able to come to the US, and that will be it. So you see that there are things that you can do to show that you stand out for this process. You work with what you have. Don't just base the things on, oh, I have to go to master's degree, or I have to finish my PhD program. I always tell people, you don't have to finish any PhD program. It's not the criteria for this type of green card. Fine, those programs may help you stand out in certain ways, but can we look at the things you have right now? Can these things actually help you get the green card right now? So those are the things that you need to know. So the key takeaways from this case breakdown that we're talking about today is, number one, that extraordinary ability is not equal to being famous, right? These are two separate things. Fine, you can have both things. You can be famous and also be extraordinary. But that's not what we're looking at. We're looking at impact, high-level impact in your field that has been documented, right? We want things that we can verify. So if you say you've done something and we look at the evidence that you can't show us in any way that you did any of that stuff, we're not going to use it, right? So we want things that can be documented. We want things that are high-level, impactful things in your field. So that's one thing that you want to take note of. The second thing is we were able to convert his technical innovation, the things that he had done, the projects he had worked on. He even gave us a whole folder on projects that were not even published, and we were able to send those things as well, right? So Sometimes, yeah, you've published 2 papers, you have 1 citation, but you have all these projects that you're working on, right? You can put that to show that I'm still in this field, I'm still impactful in my field, I'm working on things, and these things are things that will benefit the US as well, right? And then we aligned his story with US national interests. We were able to talk about the goals that the US has and how his expertise plays into those goals, right? That also showed that he stood out in his field. Now, even if you're not in academia, which is a big one, right? A lot of people think, oh, I have to be in academia, I have to be publishing in a lab to be able to apply. Even if you're not in academia, or you let's say you're an engineer, you're an industry expert, you can still qualify for EB1A, you can still get your green card. All right. So these are the things that we talked about. That's how our client stood up for this process. And God willing, coming to the US with his family, and we've been able to make that happen. So we're really excited to work with people who are uber qualified, people who have done the work. All we do is just shine a light on the work that you've done, right? The people who have done the work, they just need people to, hey, I'm a busy professional. For him, he just says, you know what? Of course, you see someone with 27 years of work experience, they're busy people. They don't have the time to write a whole petition, right? It could be you. You could be a student and you're just like, I'm busy with my coursework. Can you guys do the writing for me? We can. That's what we do. We offer editorial services to help you get your US green card, okay? All right, I'm going to pause there to make sure that I'm not just ranting and give you guys a chance to ask questions, okay? So if you have any questions, now would be the time to put the questions in the comments. I'm going to read them and, hopefully answer as many questions as I can. I have the hour to do so, okay? So as we go along, some things I want you to keep in mind are that we have resources for everybody, right? We have people that say, hey, I don't want to write this thing by myself. I want you guys to write it for me. We have those resources as well, right? We have people that say, hey, you know what? I want to write it myself, but I want you guys to review what I'm writing. We have those services as well. Then we have the people that say, hey, I can't afford for you guys to write it, but I can do it myself. I want to write it myself. I just need a template. I want to see how other people have done it, right? We have templates that you can purchase and use to write your petition yourself. We have people that say, hey, I have a recommender who wants to recommend me, but they don't have the time. Can you look at my proposal endeavor and create a draft so I can show my recommender? We have those services as well. So we like to say we have something for everyone. If you're looking for services to help you speed through this process in an efficient way, in a way that helps you get the desired result as much as we can, yes, we have those services and you can also key into those things as well. All right. So a lot of the people who are going to talk to us are people who are bachelor's degree holders, master's degree holders, and people who are, some of them already have their PhDs, their MDs, the industry experts, and we've been able to help them through the process. All right. Somebody is asking for our link to our ebook that has a sample template. Okay, so for the ebook, we can send you that link, definitely. We'll put that link out there. I don't know if we have a keyword for that ebook right now. Or you can go ahead and comment the word ebook. We'll send you that link to your DM and how you can join and get that. Okay, so we talked about a few things. That timing is very, very crucial to this. Timing is very, very crucial to this. You absolutely need to strike while the iron is hot. Don't put up something that you can do today for next week, guys, because we know with the former administration that 1 second there was a ban and then everything just froze for some people. Like right now, our friends from Iran, they can't apply or they can't complete the process without maybe a waiver or something in place because some of those countries have gone ahead to receive bans. Some of them are temporary, some of them are permanent. Okay. All right. Let's answer questions. All right. The first question is for EB1. What professional organization membership should someone in data analytics field have? That's super specific. Okay. So we'd have to look at that together and doing a consultation and tell you what you can do. But within your field, you want to look for organizations that don't just require membership payments. Every organization mostly requires that, right? You want to look for organizations that will say, hey, maybe you have to have a degree in this field to be part of us, or you have to take qualifying exams to be part of us, or maybe somebody has to nominate you to be part of us, or hey, you have to have this degree in this line of field to be part of us. So you look for those kind of organizations, right? Most organizations, professional organizations, will have some kind of eligibility criteria that will delineate, like, okay, who can be part of us and who can't. Don't just base it on paying dues, right? And even when you join such organizations, make sure that you find out when is the conference that they're having. You didn't get any volunteers for the conference. Volunteer for things. Put yourself out there. That's how to stand out in your field. Okay. What are the chances for medical doctors, pediatrician? Do they stand a good chance? Absolutely. So we've been able to help medical doctors as well. We've had clients who are applying from outside the US and clients who are within the US apply who are MDs. One of the things that we focus on when we work with MDs is that we want to shine a light on the fact that they are helping something that will benefit the public health of the US, right? We don't really talk about them too much or say, hey, we don't put physician on every page because if we do that, there's a physician NIW route, right? We want to make sure we don't do that. But we really shine a light on a particular thing that they can do as, for example, as a pediatrician. So think about it. Is there a problem that kids face, maybe newborns face in the US that you and your team have seen so many times? And you might not be creating a different treatment plan, or you may not have created something novel to handle that problem, but you could be saying that you're going to increase public health awareness, you're going to increase screening opportunities for people that don't have access, right? You may talk about the things that you do to spread awareness for this thing and draw light to this kind of thing, right? So as physicians, a lot of the times you have the capacity to do so many things, but we always talk in the context of something, right? What is your contribution in your field? Have you done any public health awareness programs? Have you done any relevant volunteering? Do you have certification? You definitely have a license if you're a physician. Whether it's within the US or outside the US, we show that license because that helps you stand out. Some of you command a high salary. We can even use that to show you stand out. Have you helped in any way, maybe published anything, or even gone on a conference and said, or keynote speaker, things like this, right? So it's kind of hard for me to exhaust the different ways that you can show you stand out. But to answer your question, yes, as a physician, yes, you can get your US green card that way. But for us to look at your specific case, I would say definitely get a consultation so we can look at this together. Okay. All right. I'm an F1 student currently on OPT. Good. For 3 years from next month. Okay, so I'm guessing you're STEM, right? Okay. I'm trying to understand the time frame for EB2 to make good use of the 3 years OPT. Awesome. Okay. So I love it when people are proactive and when they reach out to figure out how do I plan the next steps. And that's what you're doing. That tells me you're a high achiever and that you're a planner and most likely will be successful with this process. Okay. So there's the EB1 and the EB2 pathways to getting a merit-based green card. These pathways, I'm sure you know this, but they don't require an employer. They don't require a sponsor. And if you have dependents like a spouse and kids under 21, you can add them on your petition as soon as you get approved. When we talk about EB1, employment-based first preference, right? For most countries, the priority date is always current. That means they always have visas available for you. So if you qualify for EB1, that timeline means nothing. You can apply today, you can get it if you're qualified, or you can apply on year 3 of your OPT if you're qualified and get it, right? Now, let's say you don't qualify for EB1 and you want to use the EB2 NIW pathway. The thing to know is that EB2 NIW is taking a while. So it's a 2-step process. The first step is the I-140 application. Once your I-140 is approved, you either, if you're in the US, adjust your status, or if you're outside the US, go to consular processing. It would seem very straightforward, but it's not quite straightforward because visas are not readily available. Your green cards are not readily available. They have an allotted number they can always give out every year. And because so many people have applied under EB2NIW, it's now on a queue system, right? So it means that a lot of our clients have done the first step. They've gotten the I-140s approved, but they haven't adjusted their status to get the actual green card, right? So the way that it's done is that when you apply, they give you a place in line. That's called your priority date. Priority date is the day they receive your application. Right now, USCIS is saying all of you whose priority date is before October 15, 2023. You hear that? October 15, 2023. It's time to adjust your status. So those people that applied in 2023 are just now adjusting their status. What are we on now? We're now in June 2025, right? It's not quite 2 years, but almost 2 years. So that tells you that that process can take as long as 2 years right now if you're doing EB2 and IW. So I would say you can do a 2-pronged approach. You can do a consultation, number one, to figure out which pathway is the best for me based on my achievements. If I'm ready for EB1, I'm going to apply straight for EB1. If I'm not ready for EB1, can I do some things in the next 6 months that will help me stand out for EB1 and potentially apply through EB1? If not, you'd have to know that, okay, if I want to apply for EB2, such that when I'm finishing my OPT in 3 years, I'm at least able to adjust my status. Because you have to be in status up until the day you apply for that adjustment of status process, right? So you'd have to know that you have to do that application within the first year of your OPT if you're going to go by just the wait time right now, okay? Now, it's not that after your OPT you automatically are out of status. No, you could also get on a program that will, or a job that will offer sponsor your H1B. Sometimes those are hard to find, or you could switch to the merit-based visas like the O1 visa. That's a visa that allows you, it's also it's kind of similar to EB1 as well for exceptional individuals who have job offers. So for the O1, you need to have a job offer. But just looking at the way things are, EB1, EB2, and IW is taking a while. So you must have at least 2 years, right, to figure that out. Okay, so guys, keep the questions coming. I have roughly 20 minutes to spend, so I'm happy to answer questions all around. And of course, at the end of the session, I'm going to offer one free consultation to someone who is, out there, who really wants our help with figuring things out. So hang on with the process. I'm going to ask that you share this live session to make sure that other people can see what it is that you're doing. All right, we want people to have information. Information is power. When I applied for this, I got my green card this way. When I applied, someone told me about it. I went to one of my friends' rooms when I was in my grad school process, and she whispered to me, she's like, I got my green card. I was like, how? And honestly, it was a whisper. It was like, I was like, how did you do it? I see you every day, And she told me she was a medical doctor from Nigeria. She had moved to the US for her MPH. And while she was in her MPH program, she had applied. At that time, she used a lawyer. So she paid about, I know how much she paid, I'm not going to say here, but she paid some money for it. I couldn't afford it at that time. I was just like, oh, lawyer's out of the question. I don't even want to go that route. But I had that knowledge, and I put that in my back pocket, right? And then I went for another session our school had organized where they brought some immigration, attorneys to come to our school and tell us about it. So the immigration guys came, and I asked questions at the time. I told them, briefly. Now, how at the end of a meeting, this question and answer time, and you want to quickly tell them your profile just to see, So I just told them my profile, and the immigration guy was like, no, I think you need to do a little bit more. Now, I realized what that was because we're in an institution of high achievers. Like, you're in a place where people are doing a lot, right? And, they always want to take people who are uber qualified, and I get it. So I said, okay, I may not be qualified, but I'm going to get this thing. And that's the thing about me. Like, if I see an opportunity, I don't really say, am I qualified now? No, just tell me the requirements. That's all. Tell me what it is that I need to do, right? And I'll do it. I'll do it, and I'll prepare myself for this. So I made sure that every decision I took, whether it was from going to academia for my postdoc, where I could have gone to industry and gotten paid more, whether I was going to academia and spending that time there, putting in the work to make sure that my profile looked good for this. Whether I was like writing extra grants, oh, there's a grant opportunity, I'm going to write it because I know this is going to look good for my profile. Whether I was like all the volunteering I did, right, all the judging I did all kinds of things, right, just to make sure that, because we have a lot of people who are whizzes, like they're really good at what they do, but they only do that one thing, right? They're just okay with going to the lab, doing the work, and going home. While some people will say, you know what, I want to put myself out there, I want people to know my name, right? This type of green card requires that people know who you are. You cannot be exceptional and nobody knows you, right? The case that we just broke down, he was doing mentorships way before he knew about this process, right? So it's the things that you do on a day-to-day, but we be more strategic about, okay, these are things I'm going to accept, and then these are things I'm not going to accept because I want to do this type of thing. And then, of course, I got a template, for my friend who had gotten the process done. I said, hey, how did this work out for you, right? Let me see what your lawyer wrote. And then I said, okay, she's a medical doctor in MPH. I'm a scientist, I'm a microbiologist, right? I'm going to write my own, tailored to my own specific field. Now, as a microbiologist, I've done a lot of different things. Which one of these different things am I going to use for my EB2 and application? And I had to think, okay, let me use what I'm working on right now. I may not have spent so much time doing that, but it's super important, right? I'm going to use it, right? So you need clarity and you also need guidance when it comes to this process to make sure that you're not choosing things that may not get you your desired, result. We have so much insight in the process now. We've come a long way from when we started. I've helped a ton of people get their green cards, either with our toolkits or even our editorial services. But it's always the same thing where we look at your profile and we're able to kind of steer you in the right direction. Okay. We have people that will pick things that they want to propose that the current administration is not smiling on, right? We know that we don't want to put things that are maybe kind of like you have to be of a certain mindset to accept this thing, right? So you pick the thing that you know that is most needed, that you're working on, that the US will benefit from. All right, let me answer your questions. I can kind of go off on a tangent sometimes. Okay. Is there an age limit to this? Not that I know of, right? I told you someone was in the field for 27 years. He was able to apply and get it, right? Not that I know of. There's no, I mean, as long as you're not retirement age, because then this whole thing is hinging on the fact that you have benefits or you have expertise that the US needs. Now, if you're someone that is about to retire at 65, how much can you really add to the workforce? Except if you have concrete evidence to show that they're offering you this job, because you're still coming to the US to add value. So you have to be within working age, right? But not a specific age that I know of that sets you apart. Okay. With an MBA, do I qualify to apply? Okay. So there are two pathways. There's EB2, there's EB1. EB2, you can apply on the basis of your advanced degree, but even with that, you still have to show that you stand out, right? So it's not really all about your degree. It's not just, that's one thing, right? But you have to show, what have you done with this degree? This expertise, this expert that you are, what have you done with it? Remember, you can apply for a green card even without a degree. So the degree is a plus, but it's not the main thing, right? It's not the main dish. The main thing is, what have you done with that thing that you have? What impactful things have you done, right? Are you mentoring people? Are you creating things that are game changing in your field? How are you standing out? Have you received any awards in international repute, right? We're not talking about local awards now. They give you in your local church chapter. No, we're talking about international awards from maybe organizations that are well known. Like, easy ways to get those awards are from professional societies. If you've got any award from professional societies, very easy to argue that they are merit based, right? Or even it could be an award where there's clear criteria for, hey, who is eligible for this award? You have to have done something to get the award, something merit-based, right? Those things can help you stand out. So it's not just about the degree, it's about what else have you done in light of that degree. So if you want us to, schedule a consultation, you're free to do that. We can look at your profile and see how you stand out, okay? But very good question, Shagun. I really like that question. All right, so let's see if there's any more questions about this, and then, all right, make sure that I'm answering everyone's questions. And of course, guys, tell people about this, okay? It's not, one thing that I encounter a lot of times is sometimes we'll help people get approved and then they don't want to tell anybody how they did it. They just want to, keep the thing quiet. If my friend had not told me how she got her green card, you see all the people that have gotten approved just through our services, these people would not know, or probably know from a different person, or or maybe not even hear about it in the time that they did. So something really important I would say is the importance of sharing relevant information. I wake up in the morning and I share reels to my different friends, right? I have people on my Rolodex that I share reels to, right? But how much more powerful if I'm sharing information that's so useful that could change their lives, right? Having a green card can literally change your life because it can affect the kind of jobs that you accept. It can affect the state that you choose to live. You're not just going to any state that is offering you a job because we know that not everywhere that you want to live, right? It can affect if you want to go back to school. How much are you going to pay for tuition? You're not paying out of state fees like internationals. You're paying residency fees as well. So you're paying the fees of people who are residents in that state. That's beneficial. You save a lot of money. Actually, that's what one of our clients said to me. He's like, you don't know how much my life has changed because of this. I'm able to, my kids are able to go to school at a certain rate. I'm not paying through my nose again, because I want my kids to go and get this. So it offers a lot of benefits. And what's the recent happenings, they're just going to carry you from the streets and send you back because you're out of status or because your papers are not, right. So you want to make sure that this country still favors merit-based pathways. We've seen it over and over. The president has said it over and over. Merit-based, he wants people who are going to come here and add value. He says that all the time. So we're not even threatened that they're going to take this pathway away, because we know that they want people who are going to be here. All the executive orders, go and read these executive orders that they're signing. Look for the ones that are aligning with your field, because you want to make sure that you are proposing things in line with what the US is about, right? Don't just go and take something because you like it or because, you know, pick things that are in line with the US government, okay? You want to make sure that you're doing that. All right. Is it possible to apply for EB1 while in the process of applying for an EB2? Absolutely. We have people that they come to us and they say, you know what, I'm qualified for both of them. I'm going to apply for both at the same time, simultaneously. And we say, hey, go for it. What that does is like it increases your chances of approval. Because if you get approved in one, let's say you get approved, your EB1 gets approved, your EB2 gets approved, guess what? You get your green card through the EB1 because it's faster, right? And then you only need one green card. So every other process that you put in will have to be shut down. We have people who their relatives have filed for them 12 years ago, because that process can be long, right? Especially if, let's say, your US citizen brother files for you. Oh, that process can be so long. So they have that going. Then they come to us for EB2 and IW, and then they get a job, their employer files for the EB2, not the NIW, just the EB2. And everything is just going on at the same time. What happens is that whichever one they get first, every other process gets shut down because they only need one green card. Okay? So remember that you can share this important information with your friends who are not in the US who are qualified. We have people who are coming straight from Nigeria. And you know, I'm Nigerian, that's why I always say Nigeria. Okay. So for people who are saying, why do you keep saying Nigeria? Because I'm Nigerian. Okay. So we have people who are thinking about, do I come to the US as a student, or do I just come as a green card holder? And we give them the information and they say, you know what? I could have spent $60,000 on a degree I did not need. Meanwhile, I have everything it takes to apply now and get it with what I have right now. We don't have to come to the US and be wondering, oh, how do we stay on one, figure out our status. We can apply from there. And then we get it, we come in comfortably, right? So you want to make sure that information is power. Get the right information and do like the needful with it. Don't sit on information. Act on information that you get. All right. Yes, absolutely. Is there a difference between EB2 and EB2 NIW? Yes, there's a big difference. So let's talk about it. Employment-based second preference is different from employment-based second preference national interest waiver, right? One of them you don't need an employer to do. The national interest waiver, EB2 NIW, you don't need an employer. You don't need a sponsor. You don't need a job offer, right? But EB2 requires you to have an employer. It requires an employer to file for labor certification for you, to say, hey, I have, there was a job opening, I've considered US citizens, they're not qualified, but hey, this person is qualified, that's why we're offering him the job. So they have to do the labor certification process first. It's called the PERM process. They have to do that process. That process can be as long as a year. I mean, before all of this, right? It was taking as long as a year. And then after they get the permission from the Department of Labor, then they can file your I-140 for you. So it's a longer process. That's the EB2. But with the NIW, you're saying EB2 NIW, I don't need an employer. I don't need a job offer. I can add my dependents. In fact, the national interest waiver allows you to waive the requirements of a job offer, right? So you can self-petition using the EB2 NIW. So it's a little bit different. Where with one, your employer just has to show that they're not taking jobs away from US citizens to offer you the job, and that they're getting permission from the Department of Labor to say, hey, we're going to give this person this job, right? With the NIW, you're saying, hey, I don't even need to have a job offer. I don't need any labor certification process because of the value that I'm bringing to the US. I can self-petition it and I can do it myself. I'm showing that I have something that the US needs. This is what I'm proposing to do. This is why you need to give me this green card. All right. So the major difference is with one, you need an employer, with one other one, you don't. Okay. And one of them you can self-petition, which means you can represent yourself. The other one, no, your employer has to do it for you. All right. No, they're not the same. All right. Okay. Okay. Let's see. Any more questions from you? For those who think that they always have to be in the US to apply, no, you don't have to be in the US to apply for this. You can apply. It's merit-based. The US is always looking for experts, people who are going to come and add value to the US, okay? And so they're looking for experts who are going to come in to add value. If that's you, you can apply. And of course, if your country has not been banned, right, you can. Now, a lot of people are saying, oh, my country has been banned. What do I do? Well, if you're qualified, I would never advocate for people to give up. I don't advocate for things like that. You never know. They may lift some of these bans in a few months or in a year, right? Those who are ready, opportunity will meet them, right? So imagine that you've been putting together things, and then tomorrow they say, hey, the ban is lifted for this country. You put in your stuff immediately, right? So you always want to act on the assumption that you're going to succeed. That's how I work. If I see something, I look for the requirements. I start to do things in line with how will I qualify for this, right? And then if along the way opportunities open up, I put that thing in. So I think that's where you should come from, that mindset. And of course, if it is something that's going to add merits to the US, there are opportunities for you to even request a waiver for things that already exist, and they could do that for you, right? So we want to make sure that we are always doing things that will, kind of help our development. We don't want to just stall because, hey, the world is bleak, nothing is moving around me. No, keep working, keep striving, and keep doing what you need to do. Okay. All right. Let's see the questions. Okay, do I need to complete my BSc in cybersecurity for EB1 when I already ticked other boxes? That is a great question. I once had this guy who did a consultation with us from a different country. I don't even remember who, quite clearly who he was in the tech field. And one thing I'm starting to realize with people in the tech field is that BSc is not all that it takes. BSc is just, you have that. And that's what the US does with this extra exceptional ability, is that you can show you're exceptional with your degree. However, there are other ways that you can show you're exceptional. So if you have other things that tick the box, let's talk. Because it's possible that you already have what it takes. Remember that not every field requires a degree, especially for EB1. Imagine that I'm a runner, right? I do athletics, I'm winning medals and things like that. Do I need to have a degree in athletics to show that I stand out? No. The actual primary evidence for my expertise is the medals that I'm winning, right? So if you already have things that show you stand out, if you already done things in your field, in the tech field, that show you stand out, hey, let's have that conversation, because you may just be what they need for this. Okay. Let's see. Okay, so for EB2, they're giving information for EB2 in the comments. For EB1, remember that you just need to look through, do I have a one-time big award? If I don't have a one-time big award, can I look through this list of things that show I stand out and pick at least 3? The government is asking for 3 things, right? And then can I show them that I'm going to continue in this field? So I'm not running away from this field. If I move to the US, I'm going to continue in this field. Again, that doesn't require a job offer. I mean, look at the guy we worked with, the petroleum engineer. He doesn't have a job here yet, but we're able to show that even if when he comes to the US, even when he comes to the US, he's going to add value because he's already done so from outside, right? And then we show them that even if you have other people who are experts in this field, you still need me here. I'm still going to add value. It's still going to be beneficial to the US to have me here, right? So those are the things that we do. We're experts at writing and putting this petition together. If that's what you're looking for, come talk to us, all right? All right, I have a question. If I get my EB1 approved and I have my green card approved and get married, can my wife get at least a work permit if I file for her, pending when her F2A gets current? That's the dependent visa for F1 is F2. Okay. All right, let's talk about that. The timeline of everything. Okay. Let's say you even applied for your EB1 today, and then you got married tomorrow, and you didn't include your spouse in your initial application, but at the adjustment of status phase, you now have a wife, miraculously, right? You can include your spouse at the stage of adjusting status. If you don't want to do that, let's say you already got your green card, and then you marry somebody, right? Your spouse. Yes, they can get your green card through you as well. So the only difference is if the person's already in the US, they will adjust status. As long as you're already married, though, you have to be married and you have to show your marriage certificate. You can't add your girlfriend or your fiance or whatnot. No, it has to be married, right? So if at the point that you got approved adjustment of status, you're going to add on your spouse, it can be done. You're most likely going to be called for an interview because that looks highly suspect. There are people that just hop onto people's applications because those people have been approved, right? So USCIS is going to make sure that that is a legit marriage. They're going to ask you guys questions about your relationship to establish that that's a real marriage, right? When I applied, I had gotten married. I had my husband on my application. We had been married for at least a year. So they asked my husband questions about the relationship. They said, how long have you guys been married? How did you meet? Who said I love you first? Questions to make sure that you guys are actually a real deal, and not just, but yes, you can add your spouse. At that time, my husband was F1 and I was F1 because he was also a program in the US, right? So, and he just adjusted his status, same as I did. He got his green card as well. So Just let life lead you. If you're going to get married before the application, good. If not, after the application, if it's at the stage of adjusting status that you're adding a spouse, it can be done as well. All right, let's see. Any more questions? Okay. All right, let's see how many more minutes I have. Oh, a couple more minutes and then we'll be heading out. Okay. In the course of filing for EB1 or 2 petition, do we have to present evidence of professional membership? Because some of these professional organizations of one's profession do not give certificates. That's so sad, honestly. Let's think about it together. So, most professional organizations will have an online profile that you create, right? Or maybe they create for you when you get your, when you sign up. And that profile will have your membership number, it will have things like that. Sometimes you just go on that profile and you print out that evidence that you're part of that society, right? That could be the evidence. Other times you can even reach out to people to say, hey, let's say you joined a professional society today and you also volunteered on one of their programs. You could reach out to them and say, hey, is it possible to just get a letter to verify that I'm part of this society and I also did this work with you guys, right? So you could verify with a letter as well. You could do the online thing and then, but I was very strategic about the organizations I was joining. If you're not going to give me evidence, I'm not pursuing it, right? Because if, like I always tell people all the time, if there's no evidence, it never happened. So why am I going to join you guys? Why am I going to sit with you guys if you guys are not going to give me something to show that I'm part of you, right? So it could just be, okay, fine, I'm part of this organization that doesn't show anything. I've asked them for a letter, they're not even giving me a letter. I'm going to go join somewhere else that will give me that, right? When I was applying, somebody told me about Sigma. And Sigma will take you, it's based on nomination. And not only that, you need to have the different tiers of membership. There's a full membership where you have to have a first author publication. I think at least 2 author publications, and that's it, right? I applied for full membership because I met that criteria. Sigma is amazing. They will even give you a big certificate that you're going to hang in your office that looks like a degree certificate. They're amazing. They will send you the bylaws, Those are the things that I took the bylaws, I highlighted the area that talked about the eligibility criteria, I took a copy of the certificate, and I sent that in, right? And then even now, I nominate people. So let's say we do a consultation, and I see that, you have some things that will help you stand out, and you will get into Sigma. I will nominate you. I don't gatekeep. I nominate people all the time, right? So that's the benefit of actually reaching out. You never know. People have these connections. They're able to nominate you for things. They're pointing in the right direction. My take is, if you're part of an organization that doesn't give you evidence that you're part of them, let's look for another one that's going to give you the evidence that you need, right? And if you're not able to go on your online profile to print out something that looks like you're part of them, if you're not able to volunteer and they give you something to show that you did, or maybe you went for a conference in that organization and you can show yourself, picture of yourself presenting, and things like that, we're gonna have to do for another organization that will do the things like that. Okay. All right. I have a couple more minutes. I was going to stop at 1 hour exactly, but I guess I can do a couple more minutes. Okay. And of course, I'm going to pick someone here for a free consultation. So, guys, stick until the end. Can I use pre-publication research or conference presentation as evidence? Yes, we can. Conference presentation. See, what are you doing at the conference presentation? You're spreading your knowledge. You're establishing yourself as an expert in your field. If you go on your Google Scholar, if you go on my Google Scholar, you will even see my conference presentations, all those conference proceedings, conferences I went to, abstracts. People cite some of those things sometimes, right? So I use all of those things. When I was, my boss always used to say there's this pre-publication website. Sometimes we try to publish something so much that it hits a lot of roadblocks, but we want to make sure that everybody knows we're the first to put that idea out there. We will put it on a platform that doesn't require peer reviewing, right? Sometimes we're able to reference that look, my work is outside, it's out here. I have this peer review, but I also have all these projects that I've done that are, may not have been published yet. My client who we talked about today, he also had a whole folder of projects that he was just working on that never got published. We use those things as well to show that he's in the field and he's continuing to add value in that field. So you can definitely use that. Okay, what do you think about paid media or with Business Insider about your work? What do you think about paid media PR with Business Insider for your work? Okay, if you didn't tell us you paid, we don't know that you paid. All we know is that your work is there, right? So we're not going to put in a petition that, hey, I paid for this, blah, blah, blah. No, no, no. Guys, we have to lead from your area of strength, right? Nobody knows about that. We don't care. All we know is that this organization or this media outlets have interviewed you on the basis of your expertise. That's the evidence that we need, okay? What I just don't advocate for is paid recommendations. I'm not a fan of that. I just think that once you pay people to recommend you, I feel like that kind of taints the whole thing, because someone is not going to take your money and then talk about you in an evil way, right? So I just don't advocate for that, but I want to make sure that people are putting themselves out there. I personally don't pay anybody for PR because not in that way, because I have done a lot of work that is just out there, right? But use your platforms to put yourselves out there as much as you can, okay? And then if somebody is out there saying, hey, I can boost your work, look at it critically and make sure, hey, there are no ethical boundaries that I'm crossing here. For the most part, if that person is helping you do something, of course you're gonna have to pay them for their services. If that's it, then that's okay. But if it's that, oh, I'm going to cook up stories, I would say stay out of that, because that's not gonna be good. All right, anything about fees, guys? We don't announce our fees on live Instagram live sessions like this, okay? But when you come on our consultation session, because it's not a one size fits all. Like I said, we have all these services that we offer. If I sit here and start saying, "Hey, for this one, this is the price, and this is the price," I don't think that's the best use of my time, right? So if you'd like to know how much we charge for different things, then we need to know what exactly is it that we're charging for, and does this fit your profile? Does this fit what you're going for, right? And so we can explain all that in the context of a consultation, but not on this kind of platform, okay? All right. Thank you so much. Thank you. I appreciate people who say thank you. I really like that. How many recommendation letters do I need, and what types of people? Great question. I think maybe that's the last question we're going to take before we hop off. All right. So when it comes to recommendation letters, same as publications, there's no magic number of anything, right? They look at everything holistically, right? So when I look at your profile holistically, I can say to you, hey, you don't have a lot of publications. However, you have a lot of people who are willing to say that you've done something significant in your field. We're going to lead with that, right? So I've seen people who have applied with zero. They had zero recommendation, no recommendation at all. But if you look at their profile, they've done so many things that they don't need anybody to say that they stand out. You can see just by the things that they've done that they stand out. Then I've worked with people who have done 3 letters, 4 letters, 6 letters. I got approved with 6 letters. I've seen clients who have insisted that we put all their 10 letters, and they even want to do beyond. I don't let anybody apply with over 10 letters. To me, that's overkill. I have a sweet spot for 6 because I got approved with 6. There's no magic to why I like that number. It's just because that's how I got approved. But when I talk to my clients, I say anywhere between 4 to 6 letters is great. The reason why I like this range is because after a certain number of letters, the recommenders start to repeat each other. We don't want letters that look identical where everybody's talking about the same thing, right? We want to make sure that each letter is unique, the quality is high, they're talking about something specific about your achievements, and some of them are talking about the benefit of your endeavor to the US, right? They're all talking about different benefits of your endeavor to the US, not that all of them are talking about the same thing. We want to make sure that the letters come from certain people who already know about your work. So it could be your supervisor at work who is attesting to the work that you've done. It could be other experts in your field who don't necessarily work with you. They've never done anything with you, but because, hey, I'm also a pediatrician, I know the importance of this thing. And because I'm an expert in the field, I can attest to what she's talking about, right? I can write a letter for you on that basis, right? So it could be a mix depending on what your area or your field is. It could be industry experts. It could be academia is always a great place to get letters from because it's like a think tank, right? People are constantly doing research in academia. People are on top of the latest research in academia. So don't discredit your professors. Your professors are like gold mines when it comes to EB1A or EB2 NIW, getting your green card. These people are like gold, right? They will write recommendation letters for you that will move mountains, literally. Like you want to make sure that you nurture those relationships. Like that's what it means to be strategic. That's what it means to. I know a lot of people they're not very motivated to do certain things because hey, I don't know if I want. Why would I keep a relationship going if I don't know if I want to need it, right? No. we don't burn bridges. We want to make sure that we're thinking about the future. Maybe I'm going to come back and need something from these people. I want to make sure I'm nurturing those relationships. It's very few times that people have gone on LinkedIn and said, "Hey, just shoot a cold email or a cold inbox message," and gotten a response. Where just like, "Well, I'm applying for a green card. Please, can you?" Most times people don't respond to things like that, right? Most times it's you get from your professors and then you ask your professors, like, I'm also looking for independent experts who can recommend me for this process. It could be in industry, it could be, from the VA, from the medical center. Do you know anybody that I can ask? That's what I did. Is I spoke to my mentor. She gave me a letter to attest to what I was actually working on. And then I told her, like, oh, I also need other people who I haven't worked with, but who are experts in our field and who can attest to what I'm doing. Do you know anybody who can? My mentor, she didn't have she couldn't actually file for me, but I personally feel like the connections that I got from her, I feel like those were game changing because she connected me to like 6 doctors, and all I had to do was shoot email. She sent an email, she copied me on the email and she introduced me to them, right? And then she said, okay, Ozzy's going to follow up. And so I followed up with these people, and they said, we're busy. Send us drafts, right? Because if your recommenders are really experts, they're busy people. Nobody has time to start thinking about you, putting words on paper, looking at your CV, That's where we come in. Is we'll look at the profile of your recommender, we'll look at your profile, we'll look at your endeavor, and we'll come up with a letter that is as close as possible to what they need to sign. Sometimes our recommenders don't even change anything, right? So we give that recommender that draft, and they say, "Oh, you made my work easier. I'm just going to go through this, and I'm going to edit this, or maybe put this on my industry letterhead and sign it and send it to you. You don't even need to send USCIS the original copy of the letter. That scanned letter can be sent to USCIS. The most important thing is if USCIS were to reach out to these people, would they say that they know you? Would they say that they're aware of this? You want to make sure that you're not cooking up letters, okay? So that's my problem with people that pay people to write letters for them is you don't really know if that's the person who's writing the letter. We don't really know that, right? So if USCIS were to reach out randomly and say, hey, let's vet this recommender, that recommender, will they get that person and will that person say they know you? Will that person say they are aware of everything that's going on, right? So for the most part, we like to use people that we know. We like to use people that we know to even make those connections for us if we're looking for recommenders. And we want to make sure that we're giving them drafts so that it saves time. Honestly, I'll tell you, even when we give people drafts, they still take their sweet time. Because, and there's this fine line between reminding your recommender and becoming a pest and a nuisance, right? I walked that fine line when I was applying. I'll tell them, I'll give them a gentle reminder that, I plan to submit the 1st of June. And I would really love to, I always give them 2 weeks, right? I don't send people things and say, please sign in 1 week. No, that's undue pressure. People are busy. So I always give between 2 to 3 weeks and say, if you could please sign this and send it back to me, I'll be very happy if I could get this. And then in 2 weeks, I will send a reminder. I will remind them about it. My recommenders were so high up that most times they put me in touch with their PAs, their assistants. I was just talking to an assistant about the whole thing because they're very important people. And a lot of them came from academia. A lot of them, the other half came from the hospitals because I work in the medical field. So it was a mix of academia and people in the hospital, doctors basically. And we know that these people are very busy. So, it was that. So just remember that when it's time to start reminding your recommenders, do it in a pleasant way. And nurture relationships. Even when I got approved and I went for conferences and I would see those people, I would walk up to them and introduce myself and say, I know you never met me, but I'm the person you recommended. I just wanted you to know that I've got my green card. And for the most part, these people were so happy for me. Like, they didn't even know me from anyone. They didn't know me that well, but they were so happy because they also knew the implication of that, for a researcher and for just somebody, a young person who's starting life in the US, right? Something else I've noticed is sometimes you're more successful if you ask people who know the process or who were once themselves in your shoes, right? So be aware of that when you go to ask people for letters is sometimes you have to pick and choose who you ask. There was a lady that I asked at the time who never responded to it. I think at first she said she was going to give me the recommendation. And then every time I would follow up with her, radio silence. And I would always feel like maybe she doesn't like me anymore. At that time I used to think it was all about me. And then I went to a meeting and I saw her. She came to a meeting with her kids. She had little kids, and she told me, in the last year, I have been so busy that I can't even keep track of, all these things going on. Like, I focus on my work, and I totally get it. Now that I have kids, I have to really prioritize, time for everything, right? So if people say no to you, don't take it personally. It's not about you. Look for somebody else, okay? Make sure that your most important thing is that, are you achieving your goals? If you are, that's all there is to it, right? So this process is going to test you. It's going to test your patience. It's going to be emotionally draining. Some of you are going to get RFEs, unfortunately, because we don't all have the same pathway, right? Some people will do things. I have a friend who always says that she never does things that are wrong, because if everyone is doing it and she does it, she's going to get the maximum punishment for it, right? What does that tell you? What I'm trying to say is, we all have different paths, right? Some of us will do things once. We do things the first time and it works. Some other people will do things, they'll do it 3 times, and then the third time it works, right? So if you're one of those people who have applied and you got an RFE, don't lose hope. Don't lose faith. It's not the end. It's just a different path for you, right? What we know right now is that a wide array of different officers look at this work, and we've heard from a former USCIS officer who now works in a different organization. She was given a talk, and one of the things that she said is that they're given an hour. In an hour, they have to look at 2 petitions. And she said, so that usually puts it at 30 minutes per petition. And in that 30 minutes, it also includes the time that you're going to enter into the computer your decision. So really, if they're going to, how many minutes are they spending on your petition, right? So you may have written the most beautiful thing, but you have to factor in, does this person, do they get it? Number one, do they think it's important? It may be important to you, you may think it's important, but to them, flew that over their heads. They're not feeling it, right? And so one of the benefits of people who reapply, sometimes we have people who come to us who have been denied. And we say, we think what you're doing is really impactful. Reapply. You go to a different officer, right? And somebody else with fresh perspective will look at it. Most likely be successful the second time. Other times we've noted that, one of the things that the visa officer or the ex-USCIS officer also said is that not everybody has a bachelor's degree who's going to review your stuff, right? There are some people who come into the military track system, right? It's not like they're not qualified. They are qualified because they've been trained, but they don't really have the requirements that you. Because when I'm thinking of USCIS officers, sometimes I'm thinking about PhD holders working with big files, who are just like looking through your stuff. Write your petition with the mindset that somebody who may not be in your field is going to review this. That's what I'm trying to say, right? If this person is not in my field, if they've never had a day in psychology class, or if they've never had a day as a medical doctor, or if they've never had a day as a researcher or a scientist, and they read this in writing, will it make sense to them? And I've written so many petitions that our group has written so many petitions that sometimes we can look at a petition and just tell that it's going to be hard to understand, because the person who's written it has written it so passionately, but it's full of acronyms and it's full of concepts that are so high level that you'd have to sit with this stuff over and over and over and over and over to get it, right? So we want to make sure that you write things in such a way that if in fact, my one of my consultants says, a high schooler, if you had a senior high schooler read your stuff and they don't get it, it's not going to pass through anything, because people have a short time to decide, and if it's not in lay language, most likely it may not make sense to them, right? So make sure that you're writing in lay language. All right, guys, who's interested in a free consultation? Just type the word interested. I'm just going to go through the list and I'm going to pick randomly, okay? There's no magic. I'm not a magician. I'm not going to use any special AI for this. This is literally you just letting me know that you need it, and I just want to do that for someone who is on here today, okay? So if you're interested in a free consultation, let me know, and we're going to do that. All right. So that is the process, guys, of getting a merit-based green card through either EB1 or EB2. Follow our page. We put a lot of information out there. If you go on our highlights, we have different, highlights that we've created. We have one for EB1. We have one for approvals. We have one for all the question and answers. We try to save them because we want to make sure that you have the information. You're never going to come to us and say you never had the information. We'll give you an overload of information. I'm always thinking about ways, how can we further simplify this for the people who are following us, so that, Yeah, so that they know that we have all the information. Now I have a special message for those of you who are always asking for free things, right? There are people that if they're not offered it free, they don't want it. It's your life, right? It's your life. As much as I want to help, as much as I have the resources to help, or as much as I have the team to help, I can't help everybody, right? You are the driver of your life, right? If you see something that's going to benefit you, grab it. Don't wait for anybody to tell you, oh, it's gonna look good on you. Take it. No, this is going to be the stepping stone from a lot of things that you're going to do in life, right? Especially if you plan to stay here, continue your work in the US, and add value, right? It's self-petitioning. It's you. You don't need an employer. You don't need anything. So if you're not going to invest in yourself, who will? Who will? Every once in a while I can come and do a free thing, like a free gig or a free this, free giveaway, free that. But how many people can I offer free to, right? I don't have the resources to offer free to everybody. When I started out, because I was once an F1 student, I understood the nuances of being an F1 and how you can be in a tight place. That's why I created a template with the toolkit, so that people who cannot afford the full service can also get something, right? That's why I went on YouTube. I broke down the process, did all these free videos to walk you through the process. But at some stage, you're going to have to take up the mantle and say, hey, I'm going to invest in me, right? So if you're on the fence thinking, should I get consultation? Consultation is 250, it's 300. Should I do it? It's too expensive. Guess what? It's only going to get more expensive. We're only going to keep increasing our fees, right? Because I want to hire the best people to work with us. And in order to hire the best people, I want to be paying them competitively, right? So it's only going to get more expensive. So if you come back this time next year, it will be $500. If you come back next 2 years, it will be 1,000, right? Are you going to keep saying, oh, I'm going to keep, waiting for the free 99? I will once in a while do the free 99, but policies change, guys. Countries are banned. We wake up in the morning and things are happening. Breaking news, right? So I don't want you to get caught up in that. I'm going to offer the free consultation, but please, if you're not going to get it today, invest in you. Okay? Come for the consultation. Invest in yourself. During the consultation, let me tell you what happens during the consultation. We will work on your profile. We will tell you what you're a strong fit for. If you're not a strong fit for EB1, we'll tell you, okay, here's what you can do to build that profile. If you're not a strong fit for EB2, we'll tell you, here's what you can do to build that profile. If you're thinking about my proposed endeavor, we'll brainstorm and tell you, hey, man, this is what looks good for you, right? This one looks good for your profile. This other one, it will require that this person think like you. And for example, climate change now is hit or miss sometimes, because it's a concept that some people need to have spent some time in a class, special kind of class, to understand how human activities affect the climate. Not everybody can make that connection, right? So when people come and they want to propose climate change, we do it in such a way that we explain it, we put it down in lay terms, because not everyone can make that connection in 20 minutes. Okay, so during the consultation, we talk about that proposed endeavor. Does it make sense for you? Is it something that's going to get you where you're going, right? If it's not, what else have you done? We look at your work. Tell us everything that you've done. Sometimes people will send us a CV. It's different from when we talk to them, because when we talk to people, we hear more about the things they've done. When they send a CV, it's just an abbreviated version of the things they've done, right? So during the consultation, it's a Zoom session, so you can consult from anywhere in the world. Don't wait, right? We'll look at the proposed endeavor. We'll send you a detailed profile of the things you can do to boost your profile. For those who are ready, the things that you can do to boost. We don't accept to work with everyone, because we also want approvals. We don't just want people that can throw money at us and say, hey, just do it, right? So during that consultation, you're vetting us out. We're also vetting you to see that, is this person a strong enough case that can get approved? We only take on cases that we believe in, right? So we want to make sure that you're ready to apply, because it's an investment to apply, right? So we want to make sure that you're ready. And so we want people who are there. And then people who are not there would say, hey, this is what you need to do. Want to do these two things, come back and let's look at this again, right? So guys, make sure that you start with a consultation. Even if you want to just do it by yourself, I always advocate for consultation, because consultation will tell you if you're ready. Consultation will tell you if this your idea is making sense, right? Okay, let's pick somebody. Let me look at people who are interested. And I'm just going to pick at random, okay? Let's go. All right, let's start from the top. Let's see. I'm just going to go down the list. I'm going to go down the list. Seen a lot of very interesting names here. All right. So everyone is interested. Oh yes, this because I see someone else here who we worked with. I think last year, who's also an engineer who's outside the I think in Nigeria. Yes. Congratulations, engineer. We had a great time working with you, and please send us people like you. We need more people like you who will apply. Okay. We also have a program where referrals are appreciated. Okay, so we have something for people who refer people to us. So definitely had a good time working with you, and we look forward to working with more people like you. Just if you send anybody to us, let them mention your name during the consultation. All right, I'm just gonna go with somebody said untreated. What is happening? Is it untreated or interested? I say we should type. All right, I'm gonna go with the first person who actually typed interested. Okay, because I'm not using AI to do this thing. So I'm gonna go with, I said say interested. Okay. Temilade, is that you? It's a beautiful girl in a green top, and she is kind of leaning in. Uh, yes, I'm gonna go with you because you're the first person who said she first said me, and then she said interested. I'm just gonna go with you because you're the first person that said that here. All right, I want to thank you guys. Thank you so much for joining. I know that it takes time and interest to join one of these sessions, so I want to appreciate you for joining. Temilade, please send us a DM and just say that you won the free consultation, and I'll send you a link to schedule the time that works best for you. For every other person, until we come your way next time, I try to come here every week to say something, to give some insights, to do something for you, because I know that some of you literally need it, right? So I'll come again next week with more information, but until then, thank you so much for joining, and congratulations, Timilade. We'll see you in our consultation room where we look at everything that you've done. All we need for the consultation is your CV. Work on your CV. Put everything that you've done on that CV, right? So that when you fill out the form, you upload that CV so that we can kind of make sure that we have everything set up for you. Right? So thank you guys, and have an amazing, amazing, amazing rest of your day. I will log off now, and yeah, we'll see you again next week. Take care.